All right, looks like we got everybody here. We'll go ahead and get started with our coordinator availability Wednesday with defensive coordinator Glenn Spencer. Please raise your hand to ask a question. And we'll get started today with Joey Johnson. Can you hear me, Joey?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yep. Hey, Coach Spencer, you're going on the road in a hostile environment on a night game. How big is composure, focus, all the things, avoiding distractions, just being able to function in that atmosphere? How big is that for you guys this week?
I think it's big. You kind of compare it to that opener up there at NC State. It was a night game and first full crowd. They had a long time, so our guys didn't back down. Doesn't mean we executed perfect, but I think they were. I don't think the moment was too big for them. That's kind of what you're getting at,
Yeah.
I think it was more of a, it comes down to getting off block and tackling, and the distractions of the crowd. I honestly, I think even for an away opponent, it gets you juiced up. I think they can play on that emotion of everybody's against me mentality just the way they can if they're at home in a big crowd. It's for me. Yeah, I think it could work both ways.
What's your experience over the years? Have you seen teams not handle it well at all, and other teams that just have that great focus and can fight through whatever?
Yeah, and that's as a unit. So I'm talking about. There's individual guys that might have all of a sudden they busted in alignment. They didn't force the ball when they were supposed to. Had a couple of those this year. Just so for whatever the reason, they couldn't handle that moment as a unit. As far as the execution, it's that's left to be seen. But I don't think that's been an issue so far. But yeah, I've been around programs where you just thought the moment was too big for them. I really do, and I haven't seen that out of this group yet.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Coach.
Will Turner.
Good morning, Coach. I was taking a look at numbers with Daquan Evans, and he was really kind of the only guy that had a good night against FAMU wide receiver Xavier Smith. Allowed just one catch on 5 targets, and that's just kind of been him. I think I was taking a look at him versus receivers under 6 foot. He's been very good, but against receivers over 6 foot, he's giving up 8 catches on 12 targets this year. What's the next step that he has to take to be able to be that, guy that can really cover a larger X or Z receiver, down the line?
Well, he's definitely got the ability to do it, and I think he will. Just somebody has a bigger reach than you. And I mean, that 1 3rd down against FAMU, they're late. The blitz came free, quarterback threw it sooner than he wanted to, and just kind of threw it up, and the receiver just was 6'5", and he made an unbelievable, out of radius catch. And the only thing you can do there, they got to rake and be violent on the pocket, and violent on the arms, when the ball's coming down. He just mistimed that a little bit. Boy, he made some really good plays. He had 2 double moves, and technique was good, and he stayed right on top of it. Those guys, they're on an island the whole night. We all know that. Sometimes I put that on the rush if the rush is supposed to get there and it doesn't. But yes, you teach them, you show them, hey, guy might out jump you for the ball, but until he comes down with it, you have a chance to get it out. So, that phase with him, he'll get some of those out, and he'll get a share of knockouts too.
Leo Haggerty.
Coach, when an offense starts to shift or motion or that, 11 guys on defense have to recognize it and communicate it, probably in like 3, 4, or 5 seconds. With crowd noise being a problem out of BYU, hand signals, how you plan on doing that?
Yeah, we got hand signals, and it's everybody recognizing, yelling hand signals. In certain defenses, you have to adjust more than others. If you have an anchored front, you don't have to adjust as much. But if you're almost a formation defense, that would call some more guys to move for sure. changes strength wide trades are different than motions. Sometimes you got to bump, sometimes you just got to flip strength and get the front kicked. But that's the world we live in. That's college football these days, right? Good teams that can execute well, that can do a lot of those things. Now they have to execute it right. They have to shift it right, and the timing's got to be good for them. So it's different for them rather than just lining up, putting their hand in the ground and going. Also, we've had crowd noise, all this week, so it's mainly been on the offensive field, because obviously when their defense is on the field, they'll be louder. But it's caused us some communication details being stressed this week also on our field, because can't hear anything. They can't hear me screaming at them this week. They probably they probably wish that music was on all the time.
Thanks, Coach.
JJ Garrett.
Hey, good morning, Coach. The BYU seems like a well-balanced attack, but in a big game like this on the road, getting home to the quarterback or getting him off his mark will be a big emphasis. Are there any new packages or any backer blitzes or safety blitzes dialed up for this week?
Yeah. Can't share that with you, but I will say this, that I think you're dead on. They're the most complete offense that we've faced, as far as having length and athletic tight ends that can shift out and give you mismatches there. And they can go 12 personnel, and it could be 10 looks, if you know what I mean, So that causes a lot of issues. Because you have to kind of go big people, and all of a sudden they spread you out. He's good, I was telling my guys earlier the week in the scouting report, he reminds me of Baker Mayfield, the way he can deal the ball and the way he can run around and escape. And you saw that game last week, Arizona State. He's running and he's not trying to slide. He's not tapping out. He's putting his shoulder down. And he's tough now. I saw them really, really strike him a few times, slam him to the rug, and he just kept getting up. So I respect him a lot. And then also you see the deep balls where he has the touch. He can throw the back shoulder. He can put it off outside the red line on the deep balls, right on the money. So got our hands full. You better have a couple different looks for him for sure. Sometimes you might, you have to play coverage. You have to disguise some stuff. It makes you a little weaker in the run game. All of a sudden you want to dial it up and be heavier against the run, and he's got the ability to see that and go to his one-on-one. So it'll be a little of everything to kind of answer your question the best I can.
Joey Johnston.
Coach, 2 years ago, USF beat BYU here, and that quarterback played most of the game. Greer and Boyles had nice games. Can you learn from that? Can you draw anything off that to use here?
Yeah, I think, the biggest thing for them is, like that first question, kind of talking about the moment and all. So I think because of that, whether it's right or wrong, it's the facts. Our guys are not going to be overwhelmed by their size and by all their experience. So in the back of my mind, they're like, yeah, we can do this if we play well. So yeah, I think you draw that from that. But on the other hand, you kind of look at that team and where they were at then and where they're at now. And, the new faces, the new older guys that they brought in, just the size and the magnitude and the depth of tight end. So it's a different team, but I think you're right. I think that helps for them to say these guys are ranked, they're undefeated, they beat some good teams, and they run the ball well, they throw the ball well. We don't have a chance. So I think that helps in that matter.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Coach this morning before we let him go? Go ahead, JJ.
Hey, Coach, quick question on just want to get your thought of TJ Robinson's play so far this season as a newly transfer.
Yeah, he's been consistent. I think he knows he's got he's got to get better in a couple of areas. I think getting a little more aggressive on the moment calls, open field tackling. He's had a couple of issues, but he's been consistent. TJ will do what you ask him to do. You know, if you ask him to stay on top, he's going to stay on top. So I think we used to have to get him as the year goes on. You know, it's been a while since he played a lot of ball. You know, Matt Hill, then we've got so many guys. That was his third game playing college safety. So you got a lot of guys like that have a chance just to get better and better. The ceiling is so high for a lot of those kids. But very happy with TJ, and as his experience grows, I think you'll see him be able to make more plays, more confident he plays out there.
Okay. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. Get
All right,
Coach
thanks, guys.
Watson.
Let's do it.
All right, I've got Coach Weis here. We'll go ahead and get started with questions with Leo Haggerty. Go ahead, Leo.
Thank you, Brian. Coach, when you look at age on the BYU defense, it's like an NFL defense age-wise. Are you going to have to maybe throw the ball a little more than you thought?
Yeah, you definitely have to change your game plan, you know, relative to the opponent that you're playing. And I think the one thing that stands out on BYU when you watch their defense is their strength and physicality. You know, I don't know if that's an age thing or just they've recruited really well and got some really dang good players. They're very smart, instinctive, and they're physical. They're going to come up and hit you and be nasty and all that stuff right there. So I don't know if that necessarily means you got to throw it more or do whatever, but your game plan has to be tailored around that. And finding some ways to create space for your guys. So that definitely stands out. They're a great defense. It's a great challenge, but we're very excited for this opportunity and feel like we got a great plan.
Thanks, Coach.
Will Turner.
Morning, Coach. Thought your offensive line in terms of pass blocking was extremely, extremely good, especially on that left side. I mean, you know, just when you were looking at the film this week, how did you evaluate their performance? Particularly in the pass blocking?
Yeah, I think you've kind of got it nailed. The left side did a great job. I don't think there was really anything quarterback hurries or sacks from that side. We had 2 sacks in the game. You know, one was a person that we got beat on one. The other one was they brought blitz 0. We weren't able to get the hot off, and so that's really on us. But they did a really good job throughout the game, pass protecting and keeping our freshman quarterback safe and upright when he was throwing the ball. So that's a huge positive. You know, through 3 games, we've done a pretty good job of that. So we look forward to continuing that trend throughout the season. And that's going to be huge for us because we got some wide receivers who can make plays down the field, and we give us time to make those plays. We'll have good things happen.
For Timmy specifically, you know, I'm sure a lot of coaches are familiar with having a right-handed quarterback and, you know, kind of that. Yep. You know, left tackle being the blind side block there. Everybody says that the left tackle is the best friend of the quarterback. Obviously, that flips with the left-handed quarterback in Timmy. Do you have to do anything in particular to, you know, slide protections over for him, or, you know, just how do things change with a left-handed quarterback?
Yeah, I think my thought process changes a little bit in terms of you know, you got your boots and nakeds and stuff that, you know, traditionally with the right-handed quarterback, you want to go right. Now with the left-handed quarterback, you want to go left. But obviously, you got to go both ways. So it's not a tendency. You know, we threw one naked out to the right in the game last Saturday. So that's one thing that stands out. And then on some of your quick throws and stuff like that, normally it's a little bit easier, you know, for a left-handed thrower to throw to his left, a right-handed thrower to his right. So kind of getting that flipped in my brain as well. And then same thing like you're saying, you know, with the protection stuff, it's a little bit more, you know, knowing where your hots are and making sure that you're more protected to the side where the quarterback would actually be hot, so he could see the hot in his line of vision right there. So it's a little bit more of that compared to, maybe just like 6-man protection and sliding to the right. It's more about, knowing where your hots are and all that stuff. But I think like you brought up, for the right tackle now you are the blindside tackle. So that obviously comes with a little bit more responsibility and pressure, because obviously, with the left-handed quarterback. So definitely a good point right there.
Richard Silva.
Hey, good morning, Coach. Coach Scott and Coach Spencer have been talking all week about the crowd noise and the environment that you guys are heading into. How do you prepare your guys for that, especially a freshman quarterback and Timmy?
Yeah, so there's, so many coaching points that go along with playing this. So we talked to, several coaches who have played there, and, pretty much the consistent thing is it's going to be as loud as you'll ever hear. So we've been preparing for it all week. So we've had crowd noise out at practice for our scout team periods to make sure we get used to hearing it. And it's been very loud. And so it's really important for the quarterback, as he communicates the call to the offensive line and everybody else, running backs, tight ends, wideouts. He's got to be very loud, making sure that he gets the calls across. He's got to just do a great job of being very defined in his voice, and then doing a great job of having multiple cadences to be able to handle the noise. So you got to be able to be ready for that, just in case one cadence doesn't work, you have to have another one ready to go. So you're getting some things ready for that right there. It's obviously going to be a great challenge. But like I said, we've been practicing for it all week and hammering that home. We just got to have great communication across the entire offense in order to have a successful day.
JJ Garrett.
Hey, good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Crowd's gonna be an issue, but as an offense, y'all pretty much dictate how loud the crowd gets.
For sure.
Going into the game, the game, will it be the running game, or like how are you going about it to dictate the crowd noise? Yeah,
so it kind of, like I said earlier, going against each team that you play, obviously, you got to fit your game plan. Number one, what's your overall identity and the things that you guys do best. And then two, how does that match versus their scheme and their players and their environment, all those different things. So we certainly want to come out and run the ball well. We've got to utilize our quick game and downfield shots like we've been doing. And like you said, I think the best thing to do is to have early down success, because that crowd really gets ramped up on third downs. So making sure, first, second down, we're doing a good job of executing, doing what we're supposed to do, not having negative plays on first and second down, staying out of those third and long situations where they can pin their ears back, pass rush, and that crowd gets loud. So I think that's been the main emphasis for us, is staying ahead of the sticks and making sure we just execute our game plan.
Will Turner.
There were a lot of BYU fans that seemed very happy when they saw that a true freshman would be getting the start, at Lavelle Edwards. Obviously, this is Timmy's first big road. It's a huge road test. Obviously, played a little bit over at NC State, but how ready do you think he is for this kind of environment on the road on Saturday night primetime?
Yeah, the one thing I think with Timmy from the time that I've been with him is, nothing, the external factors haven't really affected him so far. So obviously this is going to be a whole different, unique challenge. Playing at BYU is going to be the best, away atmosphere I think that we'll play at so far. It's incredible atmosphere. It's going to be rowdy. Their fans do a great job. So he's got to make sure he's mentally prepared for that. But I'm very confident in Q's abilities and everything that he's done. As a true freshman, he came in here in spring ball, spring scrimmage number 1, and went out there and lit it up. And then, your fall camp scrimmages, first game of the season at NC State, going in there. He made some mistakes for sure, which he's learned from. But he did a good job and did some very positive things, against a really good NC State team, at a really good environment, playing at home against Florida, his second game of his career, playing for most of that second half right there. So, he's a freshman, but he obviously has had some good experiences to prepare him for this moment. It's definitely different when you're the starter. So you got to mentally prepare and be ready for that right there. But I have the full confidence in him. And I think he's been tested so far this season, and that'll continue on Saturday.